Okay, while staying in this posh, luxurious hotel, I'm going to take advantage of what seems to be a bit of a better uploading speed than what I've had so far in this vacation. Yeah, another 5 hours sleep last night. Anyways, and we're going to talk about the Ducks. We're going to talk about how good is it, because again, I know I did how good slash bad is it with St. Louis. People might be expecting some more of that, but because they made the playoffs, I'll have the Ducks how good is it. There are concerns, but if Anaheim's prospects can come through, they could be okay. They could still make the playoffs. I'm not going to pick them to win the division, but you guys are going to have a chance to vote on who does or doesn't win each division and all that stuff soon, so stay tuned for that. On the left side, you got Raquel Colleano, who can also play center, Richie, Gibbons, Roy, and Jones. Down the middle, Getzlaff, Kessler. So this is where you potentially have an issue with Kessler. However, Adam Henrique can play second line center. Kosilla, we'll see. Again, Cogliano can play center if he needs to. Steele might be one of the big wild cards here. If Sam Steele comes in and is able to make their roster and play right away and play a third line role, they might be all right. DeLeo and Comtois are there as well, of course. Maxime Comtois, there's going to be a lot of interest in seeing how he plays because he really dominated at the junior level. On the right side, Corey Perry, Train, Jacob Silverberg, Andre Cachet, Rowney, Troy Terry, of course, who's fighting for a job, Kiefer Sherwood, who was picked up from the NCAA this year, and Anton Rodin got signed. I got a question mark there because it's strange to see another team sign him. I know the Canucks gave him a shot twice. He didn't make the team. Canuck fans were upset that he didn't make the team. Now he's getting a shot with the Ducks. What do they know? Are they planning on giving him a shot, or is this just a minor league signing? And then, of course, it's hard not to mention Patrick Yves. Yves was brought over from Dallas. There's been a lot made of my dislike for the Anaheim Ducks, rightfully so. But it softened as soon as they got Patrick Yves, because I like Yves a lot. I think Yves is a fantastic heart and soul player who sadly has been sidelined for quite a while now, missed all of last season, may never play again. We'll see what happens. So it's a hard luck team because you got Yves, now you got Kessler, who is thinking about taking next season off. This past season, Kessler played through a ton of pain. He wasn't practicing because he knew if he practiced, he wouldn't be able to play the game that night because he'd be in too much pain. So while I've been vocal about not being a Kessler fan, I don't wish that on him, and hopefully he gets to play this year. If he doesn't, good opening for Steele, and maybe if Cogliano moves to the middle, it might give Jones a shot at playing on the left side. But Jones may end up playing there anyways. That's where it's interesting that they have added Gibbons, because their left side looks pretty solid. I know there's Duck fans who aren't big Nick Ritchie fans, though, so the idea that maybe Ritchie would get squeezed out and be available for trade might make some Duck fans happy. Fowler, Manson, Lindholm, Montour, Pedersen, Schuster, Shen, Larson, Holzer. I noticed a lot of Duck fans during the July 1st free agent frenzy were upset with what the Ducks did on the blue line. I don't think the Ducks needed to do much. They needed a 5 or 6 guy, and they picked up a guy in Schuster who can play 6. They've got Luke Shen, who could play in the top 6. He has never lived up to his advanced billing, and I think that's part of the reason why people focus on him a lot. But he's still a pretty darn decent player when in the right circumstance. I'm not going to lie. I don't think the Ducks upgraded their blue line in the offseason, but I don't think they needed to either. If Larson's good to go, then they're set. And Holzer is always good for a dozen games a year approximately. And then in goal, you got Gibson and Miller, which is one of the more solid tandems in the league, clear-cut starter and backup. And when needed to be, Miller was a pretty fantastic goaltender all around last year, proving what I said to Ducks fans last summer. You're getting a pretty decent goalie in Ryan Miller. And Jared Coreau is the third stringer picked up from Detroit. He can be a fill-in. He can play. I don't know that if something happened to Gibson or Miller that I'd want him in there a lot, but he can play. So overall, I think there's a reason to look at the Ducks and say, well, they should be back in the playoffs, but there are concerns. For instance, Perry won't be first line. I can't see it. I can't. I know Perry and Getzlaf have been together for forever, and it's easy to put them on the same line. But honestly, Silverberg and Cachet need to get that time. Cachet especially. Andre Cachet is one of the reasons that I've stopped saying things about the Ducks that I used to say when I wasn't a big fan. Because Cachet, it's hard not to cheer for him. It really is. There's a lot of players in this current Ducks roster that I think are a lot of fun to cheer for and to watch. Now, is it a winning roster? I don't know. But I do think that this team is closer to being a contender and to being potentially a division winner than they are to being out of the playoffs. But a lot of it's going to depend on health of their players up front, their forward group, and it'd be great if they could find somebody to take that Perry contract. I'm just being honest. His meltdown at the end of last year's playoff, or this year's, technically, the 2018 playoffs, his meltdown really kind of sped up their being swept. And when you've got a guy who's been in the roster that long, who's supposed to be a leader, they're not supposed to be the ones having a meltdown. So the most steadfast of Ducks fans seems to be willing to say, yeah, he can go. And that's probably the right attitude to have. But I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Again, I think it's a playoff roster. Is it a Stanley Cup winning roster? No, but it should be a playoff roster. Let me know your thoughts, though. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And how good is it? It's good. Not great. It's sort of like when you look at a weather forecast and you see it's cloudy, chance of maybe 20, 25, 30% chance of showers. You might get spit on a bit. If you're a Duck fan, you got a 30% chance of getting spit on this year. There you go. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.